And hello again, everybody. Welcome to West Georgia Women's Basketball Weekly. Coach Shatil Bradford with us, and we're talking Wolves basketball. One up and one down for the Wolves since we last visited. A really disappointing night, but let's go last night. It's shorter, Coach. After the game at Montgomery left us all feeling a little bit empty. I thought the kids responded and played 40 good minutes last night.
I think they did too. I think that I wouldn't necessarily say 40, but I think we did play a pretty good game. Overall, we did come out with much more energy than we did on Thursday, and I think that's been the goal over the weekend, is to make sure that we come out ready to play and really capitalize on those turnovers and coming down the floor and finishing at the rim.
I got a little scared early. When we got the first basket, they got 7 in a row, and I'm thinking, hot team, senior night, yada, yada, yada. We never let that bother us, and once we took control, it seemed we stayed in control.
Yeah, I think the girls knew coming out the gate that it was senior night, so they're going to hit some shots that they probably wouldn't normally make. But we have to be able to stay in our zone and make sure that we know that when we come down the floor that we got to make shots on the other end, and that's ultimately what's going to get them cold.
When this team plays its best, and you've seen us at our best and you've seen us at our not so best, what are the elements? What makes it a good night for us? If you're in the stands watching the ball game and you see A, B, and C happen, you think we got it going tonight. What is it?
When we're getting multiple people close to double figures, if not in double figures, contributing to the success of the team. I think that when we just have one person in double figures, or maybe just two that are really contributing, it's hard because we have limited scoring. But we're a team that's balanced. So in order for us to be balanced, multiple people have to contribute.
We kind of had that in the shorter game. I think we had 2 in double figures, but we had a bunch between 8 and 12.
Exactly, and that made a big difference, especially when we got production from our bench. That is another factor for us, is when we get production from our bench, coming off the bench and being able to give us that extra spark when the starters are tired or when we get in foul trouble. Like last night, we went 1 through 11. Everyone got to see the floor, and everyone did something positive. I always look at the pluses and minuses at the end of the game, and everyone was in the plus.
That is a good factor to have right there in your ball club. And as we watched it turn last night, you mentioned the freshmen, and we talked about it in November. We were trying to work kids in. In February, 20-plus ball games, they're not the same anymore, are they?
They are not. And, I try to find positives for everything, even if you play 2 minutes. So I tried to talk to our underclassmen about the good things that they've done. And even our transfer junior, I have to say, Ashley played a heck of a ball game last night. And that's because she actually looked on the offensive end. And I told her, those type of things are what we need. And we got 9 points out of our freshman point guard, who backs up Aisha Harris. So those are things that we have to continue to build on and know that, the future is bright. But right now we're trying to get to the postseason, and we need that contribution.
3 games remaining. We got them all at our house, starting with Auburn Montgomery. I get the feeling the players and the coaching staff are hungry to maybe have their best 40 minutes of the year when AUM gets here Thursday night.
Yes, I definitely feel like we have to come back and redeem ourselves from last week. I think we had a little hiccup, but it's all about how you respond to it. And that's what I want ultimately for our players, is that they understand, okay, we got a second chance at this, and we got to make it right.
One of those, you can't do anything about what happened, but you can certainly control what's about to happen.
Exactly.
And, of course, we're in a situation now that if we take care of business, we are playing on Super Tuesday. We don't know where or against whom or anything, but win our games, and then we'll look at the standings.
Exactly. I mean, all we can do is control what we do. And so we have to put our best foot forward to put ourselves in the best position possible.
Well, after that, and of course before we visit here again, we'll have another home game against Lee, a team battling up toward the top. I think of Lee when the door opens on the bus, here come a bunch of shooters into the building, and they start firing away. And if it turns into a horse contest, we got a problem. If we turn it into a basketball game, we got a shot at them.
I definitely think so. I think the goal is just to slow them down and get them off their rhythm, because they are in a shooting rhythm, and that's what they like to do. And so we just have to play our game and make sure that they play on our speed and our level, and so that we can have a chance at getting that win.
That'll be, of course, on Saturday. Thursday night, Auburn Montgomery. It'll be a 5:30 tip in the Coliseum. 2 o'clock on Saturday against Lee. And we hope we're coming back talking about a couple of wins to get ready for that finale against Huntsville.
Yes.
Coach Bradford, thank you for being with us here today. West Georgia Women's Basketball Weekly, 3 in a row at the Coliseum, and then we hope sitting there on Super Tuesday, coming up that first weekend in March, as that'll be coming up just a couple of weeks away. West Georgia Women's Basketball Weekly here each week, looking at your West Georgia Wolves. We'll see you in the Coliseum when the Warhawks get to town Thursday evening, 5:30, West Georgia, Auburn, Montgomery. Hope to have you at the Coliseum. And thanks for joining us today. For Coach Bradford, I'm Mitch Gray saying, go Wolves.